I'm Sage Linder, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press today. I'm so happy to be joined by Sage Linder. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Tell me, how have you and your family been holding up and keeping busy?
Well, it definitely took some adjusting at first. I feel like, well, right at the beginning of quarantine, I had just started working on this new movie that I'm doing, the Landry series, and I was so busy. And then all of a sudden, I had absolutely nothing to do, and I don't remember the last time in my life. I mean, I was a teenager, but I was a working teenager. I've been a working teenager since I was 14. So I'm always busy. I always have something to do. It was very shocking. I definitely had more time for reading. I surprisingly didn't watch a lot of TV at first. I tried doodling. I took a lot of walks. I tried cooking for a bit. I think I tried being ambidextrous for a good couple days, which is so grueling that I just gave up. But yeah, I kind of tried to I started a bunch of hobbies, but then didn't complete them. But obviously, time outside was my biggest thing.
You did appear on Miles Dobson's Twitch live stream for Color of Change, so it was nice to see the cast come together, raise some money for a good cause.
Yeah, that was really great. That was the first time we had all been together in so long, or virtually together. Yeah, it's always really nice to see them all because obviously we are all very busy people, and yeah, I don't really know other like times that we all come together in a video chat like that unless it's for work. So that was really nice.
So you've been dancing and performing since a young age. What do you think was the most valuable lesson you learned when you were younger that sticks with you as an artist today?
Something that stuck with me as an artist. Um, Definitely trusting your art and knowing that comparison and doubt is an art killer. Truly. And yeah, there's just no time for it. As an artist, you just have to trust yourself and what you're doing and remind yourself, I've been doing this my entire life. You know what I mean? I've been doing this my entire life. I'm qualified to do this, and my choices are right. And they might not be the same as someone else's choices, but I know that they're going to be agreed with, and someone is going to resonate with them because I believe in this and I have a passion for this. That's definitely something that I think every artist, no matter what type of art you do, should definitely carry with them because it's so important. That's how, real art, real amazing art comes about, is people just trusting what they're doing.
And you're still actively training places like Harbor Dance Center, Illustrative Society. So why is it important for you to continue growing and learning your craft?
It's just always important to, well, even the mindset, just always keep an open mind, always be open to learning new things about something that you feel like you know so well already. um I mean, I never got to a point where I thought, oh, this is it, I know everything. I don't think any artist ever has, so I've never gotten to that point. But yeah, and just sort of I try to seek different types of training that I've never done before, and I really try to push myself. And definitely in the past couple of years, I've been pushed in different ways. Like, I grew up, as a technical dancer, doing ballet, jazz, contemporary, musical theater, all those things. I did tap for a while. I didn't have a knack for that. I quit after a couple years. But I've been doing a lot of hip hop recently in the last couple years, because that's sort of where most of my work in film and TV, other than The Next Step, is. Hip hop is usually involved in that, and that really pushed me for a while. That's really when I feel like I decided or just figured out what my movement was, because I grew up, learning that your leg goes this way and this is how many pirouettes you can do in your legs this high and everything like that. And of course, in my contemporary pieces, we explored with improv and with different types of movement. But yeah, like things like, yeah, hip hop and, advanced sort of like training and sneakers is something that I've been able to figure out what my movement truly is. And I've been really grateful for that training in the past couple years.
So let's talk about that show you just mentioned, The Next Step, where you star
Mhm.
Summer seasons 6 and 7. What do you enjoy the most about this character?
What do I enjoy the most about this character? There are definitely a lot of things with Summer that I resonate with, which is, yeah, it's a blessing, I think. And I've actually learned a lot about myself by playing Summer because I feel like, any character you play, there's always reflection between who you actually are and what this character is and how, what are the commonalities and what ways can you connect with this character. And I found a lot of, I found a variant of points that I definitely connected with Summer on.
So we're going to talk about kind of season 7, what went down there. So, spoiler alert for those who have yet to see season 7 in its entirety. Please watch it, then come back to this interview. You've been given a fair warning. Season 7 ended on a pretty serious cliffhanger. A Troop disqualifying themselves from Dance Mania, returning to the studio and looking for that spot at Nationals. When you first read the script, what were your initial reactions?
I gasped. I was like, and then I immediately I talked to my friends and they had the exact same reaction. I think the first person I talked about it with was Emily, who plays Kenzie on The Next Step. And it's just, yeah, it shocked us all, really. I mean, it leaves so much possibility. There's so many things that could happen, following that scene. And yeah, it was just really interesting. It's always really cool to see the show move forward and develop new ways to create suspense. And uh, yeah, it was a shock. That was my initial reaction. Shock.
Were you happy with how A Troop, handled themselves at Dance Mania?
I really was. At the end of the day, the next step is always and always will be live as a team, die as a team. And that's exactly what we did. We didn't care about becoming professionals. It became about, okay, what do we stand for as a team? What direction do we want to take our careers? We're not just going to take every opportunity that could be handed to us if we're going to, put someone down or leave someone out. We're a team. And I love that they feel so strongly about that, or we feel so strongly about that. It definitely teaches a good lesson.
Now, what has been your favorite dance to perform on the show so far? Can be group or solo.
This always changes. I'm gonna have to say a couple. Any group dance, of course, that's performed in front of a live audience is so exciting and it brings out a fire. There's a fire that comes out of all of us, I think, when we perform in front of a crowd. It's what we grew up doing, competing and at our recitals, and it's what we know as like the core dance performing experience. And performing in front of a camera is definitely different. And I still enjoy it. I mean, I love being in the studio, I love being on set, but there is something about performing in front of a live audience. So I would say regionals season 6, and Dance Mania season 7. And yeah, final answer. It's amazing. I mean, and they're real fans who are sitting there and we really feel the effects of the show and what we're putting out there and who's receiving it. And that's what's really cool. And that's kind of like an end of season tradition, sort of like a big performance, a big wow. And I get why. It feels really amazing.
Those regional dances on season 6 were amazing. It was like the rope dance and the piano theme dance. Those are two of my favorites as well.
Mm. Yeah, I know. I got to swing over people. I don't think I've ever done
Was that scary at all?
sort of, but I more had the attitude of like, woo, like just
Yeah.
grab the rope and just go for it. That was super fun. It was like going on a roller coaster. Yeah, I mean, I've never really done anything like aerial, with the silks or
Yeah.
anything in terms of, I've never done anything with dance where it connects to heights. That was sort of like a stunt. It felt like a stunt.
Yeah.
Um, but I
Add
did it.
that to your resume now. Stunts. Check.
Honestly, I should definitely look into that and definitely make some calls
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
Summer did face a lot of emotional turmoil this season between dance captaincy, dance mania. How were you able to tap into those emotions?
Well, there's always, I mean, growing up, being a teenager, which is where Summer's at, she's learning about herself and she associates herself with this team and she has goals for herself, but she realizes that certain traits about herself that could be a virtue or something holding her back could definitely interfere with her leadership. And she's learning how to be a leader, even though, that's what she wants to do. But it's sort of, it's a question of ethics, really. What is right and what is wrong, which we're all learning every single day, no matter if you're a teenager on the next step or not. Yeah, I definitely tapped into those because I related to a lot of them. She left and auditioned for herself for Dance Mania, and I know that was a big shock for a lot of viewers. But she really did that because she needed to see what she could do on her own. And same with, Rochelle does that at the end of the season. It's something that everybody thinks about, and probably on the show, everybody thinks about that as well. That, what can I do on my own, even though I live as a team and die as a team with these people, and I want to do what's best for them? What can I do, under my own direction, under my own conscience, under my own creativity? And I've definitely thought about that growing up. I did groups. I was so close with my dancing girlfriends. I did groups, I had these certain teachers who I knew really well and that really knew me. And I was under this umbrella of training that I was used to. And it was amazing training. I mean, I grew up and I hopped at a different couple studios, but before I moved to my second studio growing up, like growing up as a dancer, moving to a different studio is a big deal in the dance world. It's like, oh, she went to a different studio, different training, different people. And I think when I did that, it was actually a hard thing for me. I was around 14 and I wanted to see what I could do with different teachers, with different, girls that I dance with different inspiration, with different training. And sometimes it's hard to choose those things. And I connected with that for sure.
I love that, just really pushing yourself, seeing your capabilities. As you mentioned, Rochelle is going through something similar. I just love your scenes, your interactions with Briar. Did you enjoy how that Summer versus Rochelle feud played out on screen?
I definitely did. Because Summer and Rochelle had always had conflict, right from season 6 when Summer gets front row and Rochelle and Jackie and Amy don't get front row. But in season 7, it hits home. In season 7, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And it was definitely interesting to watch myself. But yeah, I am happy with how it played out on screen. But it's really cool. Summer and Rochelle's relationship is interesting because they seemingly can bring out the worst in each other, and they really know how to hit each other where it hurts. But at the end of the day, they learn from each other, which is really interesting because they're able to reflect on their actions toward one another. Yeah, I really like how it played out. And
And
I
I'm
love
guessing
working with Briar. She's amazing.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say behind the scenes, it's all love, people. It's all love. These are just characters.
Mhm,
But you
mhm.
did get to spend a lot of time with B Troop this season as well, which is really nice. People like Danny and Molly. So how was that for you?
It was so great. I got really close with them actually because I probably spent like half of my time with B Troop, half of my time with A Troop going over the course of the season. And yeah, they're so cool and so excited and eager. And yeah, they're all so hungry. And I think it was a great addition to the cast. They're all so positive. They all work so hard. They all add their own little flavor to the next step that maybe we've never seen before. And that's a really nice addition. And yeah, it's great energy, great vibes.
If season 8 does go ahead, fingers crossed, no news yet, but what would you like to see more of from Summer?
Definitely, constantly everybody in the show is learning a lesson, and they might have to go through something to learn a lesson. Summer went through a lot in season 7, and I would like to see what she can do with her newfound knowledge about herself and about how she works with the team. I would be interested to see how she works as dance captain again, just as a more mature Summer, more grown up, maybe a bit stronger, and in terms of ethics, knowing what's right and what's wrong for leadership. And when you care about someone and you don't want to hurt them, but you're thinking of the bigger picture, I want to see how she navigates her way through leadership and working with the team with the new lessons that she's learned from previous turmoil.
So you did have the Australia UK tour last year. What was your favorite city to visit?
I mean, it was amazing. The entire tour was unbelievable. It was so great seeing like what happens when we perform in front of a live audience, seeing the effects of the show and how passionate people are to follow this show, and seeing the happiness and the excitement in their eyes. It's so wonderful, and it makes me want to cry. And yeah, every single city was so much fun. But something that the cast did, or the tour cast did, whenever we would have a show, right after we would be like, like we would determine whether it was like a good show or not, whether when we thought about how loud it was, when we thought about how loud the screaming was, and we would kind of rate it from 1 to 10. My favorite cities in terms of energy and volume and how much of a response that we got from the audience. Glasgow, Scotland was absolutely insane. London as well. I mean, we performed at the Apollo. That was incredible in itself. And it was so loud. There were so many people there. The energy was incredible. And it was also one of our, it was kind of on the end of our tour, or nearing the end of our tour. Glasgow, London. I would say Gold Coast was just a really amazing city to visit, and also Brisbane in Australia. Yeah. But volume definitely got it for me. Just hearing that roar before the curtain falls down. We had a kabuki curtain, and it kind of drops, and then it reveals all of us after our silhouettes are behind the curtain, and it's just so exciting.
So special, because like you mentioned, you usually are performing, back in Toronto on a set. So the energy, and you got to meet a lot of fans out there as well.
Mm-hmm. So many meet and greets, so many wonderful gifts, I would get. Some of us, pretty much all of us, would get scrapbooks and treats and chocolates, depending on where we were. We would get Australian chocolates and UK chocolates, and they would want hugs and pictures, and there would be tears, which resulted in my tears, because I would be like, oh my gosh, you're so nice, and you're crying because you're seeing me. I want to cry now. Oh, such positive. I love our fan base. I truly love our fan base. Like, I feel like we have the sweetest, most genuine fans in the world, and all they do is care about the show and care about us. And it's such a positive response. And even though there might be some judgment about the storylines or whatever, our fans are ride or die. They support us to the max, and it's just amazing. It really reflects, it may be because of some things that are happening in the world, if I might be discouraged, if I think about, if I watch the news or something and I think, oh man, there's so many awful things happening in the world, like, why can't people just be kind to each other? I look at the Next Step fans and I realize this is the love in the world. This is what it is. And it's very uplifting. They're amazing.
Just brightens your mood all the time, which obviously is such a nice relationship to have between a cast and their fans. You mentioned you were working on a couple new movies, Lifetime movies based on VC Andrews' Ruby Landry novels. So you'll star as Ruby's friend, Abby. What details can you share about the new project?
Well, these books are full of juicy details. It's very dramatic. And it's been really great to be a part on, these movies. I'm still working on the first one, but What I can say is this is my first role in a film. This is my first film role, my actual film role, and I'm so grateful to be working with these people. They're amazing people. These novels are full of juice. I really think it's being adapted beautifully. The main characters, Karina Bano and Rochelle Bano, they're from Australia, and I sort of connected with them on just some Australian things because I've spent so much time over there. Even after on the tour, when I was in Australia. I went back to Australia after because I made friends and I vacated for like a month. So we kind of just talked about Australian things. Yeah, they're great to work with. And I'm really excited with the direction that these movies are heading. And I think they're being adapted beautifully.
So back in 2018, you said that you were learning to play guitar and you would love to be part of a band. Is this still a goal on Sage's dream board?
Wow, you really dug deep. Honestly, one day, 100%. I mean, I got a guitar. When did I get my guitar? I probably got my guitar 3 years ago, and I got one of those medium-sized Ed Sheeran guitars. Not the actual on-brand ones, but one of those sized ones. Excuse me. And I taught myself. I went on YouTube, and there's something very fulfilling about playing an instrument. I feel like, do you play an instrument? No. I mean, I used to play piano, and I do think I had quite a knack for piano. And I quit when I was 12 because I was getting so busy with dance. And when I started relearning guitar, it reignited that spirit in me because something is so moving about music. I mean, I'm so connected to music already. With dance, my whole life has been adapting music in a physical form and trying to show what music is like in a physical form and letting it flow through my body. So my connection to music is so strong, and I feel like I picked up guitar pretty quick. I'm no shredder yet, but I can play the basic chords. I sing songs to myself. I've tried writing songs, but I won't go as far to say that I will ever be performing them, or yeah, no one will be hearing my songs anytime soon, but I've definitely been exploring with that. Something inside me gets really excited when I pick up an instrument. So one day, if I happen to have, a really good amount of time to work on my chords, build up my strength again, I'm never going to say never to being in a band. That's all I'm going to say.
That's great. And as you mentioned, like you've been really busy with dance, so it's something that, maybe later down the line you put more focus into. But until then, we have one last question for you, our signature question. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Oh my gosh. If I could be any ice cream flavor, what would I be and why? Well, my favorite ice cream flavor is Cherry Garcia, Ben and Jerry's Cherry Garcia. And why would I be Cherry Garcia? Well, let's add the factors here. There's the bits of cherries, which you're constantly seeking for in the ice cream. Don't say we don't look for the chunks, because we do. And you're constantly searching for the cherries. And I hope that, and cherries are the sweetest part of the ice cream. And I hope that when people meet me, they, they want to dive deep and they want to find the sweeter parts of me and the parts that make me me, and the most important parts, which are being kind and compatible and connecting with others. And I hope they find the cherries inside of me. And I hope the chocolate chunks bring sweetness to their day. And yeah, it's the whole package. I would be Cherry Garcia as an ice cream. Final
That's
answer.
an amazing answer, Sage. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Chloe. Have an amazing day.
Yeah, you too. And to all those watching, make sure to catch Sage on The Next Step, airing on CBC Gem in Canada. And we will see you next time.